Welcome, everybody, to May 15th, 2025, Daniel's Downloads, the Nutri-Q, your online patient questionnaire. And I'm going to do an introduction, but this is a system I so believe in, as I'm prepping you a little bit, obviously. But many moons ago, as some of you know, I was in a practice in Wisconsin, and the osteopath that I worked for um, did a questionnaire for every patient, a subjective questionnaire. And he would not see the patient until he looked at the handwritten two-sided questionnaire and then looked at their objective information. And he would then call the patient in the room. And he had the subjective and the objective. And he could take a lot from that. I always tell people, well, if you see a lot in the subjective that Sally marked a lot in her thyroid area, but her blood work maybe doesn't go there quite as well, it gives you something to work with. So Jamie Bells and Desiree Baptiste at Nutri-Q, or NTA, we'll get into all their introductions. I've invited them today to explain this system because if I was in practice, this is a system I would use. So let me give you an introduction here. Desiree Baptiste is a FNTP, a NBC HWC, we're going to get into all that, CYT, and an RP, who works alongside clients to help reduce stress, fatigue, and optimize their health and well-being. At the NTA, she's a member of the Nutri-Q support team and works closely in the development team and provides support to the Nutri-Q community. And then we have Jamie Bells on. Jamie, her and I go back many years. Jamie is a FNTP as well, master health coach, host of the Nutritional Therapy and Wellness podcast, business development specialist for the Nutritional Therapy Association. So NTA stands for Nutritional Therapy Association, and a former representative for the Midwest distributor of Biotics Research. That's how Jamie and I know each other. She was up in Minnesota working for Biotics Research. But prior to COVID, she had a nutritional therapy practice that consisted of 2 physical locations and a team of 4 NTPs working in collaboration to offer one-on-one consultations, group training sessions, and corporate wellness. I'll tell you what, after reading these introductions and all these credentials, I've always told you I surround myself with really brilliant people because I've never had an original idea. And secondarily, I'm feeling really lazy today because these are amazing backgrounds in credentialing in our world of integrative health. So Jamie and Desiree, welcome to Daniel's Downloads.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here. Hello, everybody. I'm gonna dive in. So before I was, as I mentioned in my practice, then COVID hit and I became a biotics rep, and that was such a fun season. Although it was when everything was shut down, it was a challenging time. Lots of virtual conversations there, but back in my practice, I use this software, Nutri-Q software every single day with every single client. And I'll tell you how I use that kind of as a feeder and a funnel in my practice. And you can use it as a tool that suits you and the way that you wish to do it. But I'm going to jump back first and give a little bit of history. So, the Nutritional Therapy Association was founded by Greg Graham, and he was actually very connected to biotics as well. He owned the biotics research distributor in the Pacific Northwest. And so this program really was created in tandem with that in mind. And so it's customizable with biotics products, which is something that makes it really cool. But to go back, in 1997, he founded the NTA and started teaching NTPs, nutritional therapy practitioners, in how to help by honoring the bio individuality of each person and understanding what their nutrient deficiencies were. And in doing so, he used what's called the Nutritional Assessment Questionnaire, which is a questionnaire that is inside of Nutri-Q. So Nutri-Q is the software, and the NAC, the Nutritional Assessment Questionnaire, is embedded within that. And so what it does is the knack is really the sweet sauce in all of this, and it's just over 300 questions, and they're all symptomatically based. And so you'll have your patient or client go through that questionnaire, and they'll answer on a scale of, kind of never, sometimes, always. They're responding to these symptoms that they're experiencing that they might not even realize are dash lights for whatever is going on. And then the algorithm or the formulation in the software pulls all this together to give you, as a practitioner, an idea of which organs or which organ systems are screaming for help the loudest. And then furthermore, it actually gives you some recommendations, like a start. I've never used them just, yep, this is what I present, but it gives you a starting place to say, these products, and it also gives some lifestyle recommendations as well. So you're getting the supplementation recommendations. There's a spot to give additional dietary recommendations as well as those lifestyle recommendations. And so you'll see Des is going to demo the platform here in just a moment, and she'll show you how there are customizable forms. We have lots of forms that are already preloaded, like a food and mood journal, if that's something that you have already incorporated in your practice, or if it's something that you would like to. There are lots of different forms and things. Again, you can create your own. Our current integrations are Fullscript, Google Calendar, Stripe, and Practice Better. There are a lot more to come with that. We're building it out more and more every day. Our tech team is working on it. Historically, this has been a software platform that has only been used really within the NTA community, our own community. But because of our relationship with Biotics, we're making it available for others as well. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how you can do that in a moment. But I'm gonna let Des go ahead and demo the platform and show you kind of the functionality of it, where those bells and whistles are within, and then we'll show you how you can sign up and get a free 30-day trial to see if it's for you.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you what Nutri-Q actually looks like and how it functions. Um, so this is the platform. This is Nutri-Q. This is a HIPAA compliant platform. So just note that what you're seeing today, this account is a test account, and these are all test clients that we have in here. That we use to just do different testing of forms and things like that. So these are not real people, but it's a sample mock environment. So when you are logged on to the platform, you're going to have an overview basically on your dashboard of what you can see just from a quick glance. You're going to see any newly completed forms that any of your clients have completed, any of your tagged clients, any upcoming appointments that you have, because you can set appointments through Nutri-Q as well, and any announcements that we have posted on the platform for updates or things like that. So what I'm going to show you now is on the My Clients tab. And this, again, is a mock environment. These are all test clients. So these are where your client list lives. And on this page, you can filter by the name. You can actually create tags to tag clients if you have maybe a group of patients that are going through a certain protocol or educational program with you. You can tag them so you can easily find them, and different things like that that you can customize here. Under the paperwork is where you'll be able to see, you'll be able to actually upload any documents if you want to create any public facing URLs to share with your clients. We have a sample one here. Under the My Form section, this is where all of the forms that live within Nutri-Q that you will have access to in that basically just come straight out of the box within Nutri-Q itself. These are, you'll see there's a therapeutic nutrient plan, the nutritional assessment questionnaire, the NAC, which we're going to show you in a bit, and just a number of different forms that come within Nutri-Q itself. You can also have the ability to create new forms, which Jamie mentioned earlier. So if you want to upload any forms that you have that you want to send clients, you're able to create new forms here and get them loaded up into your database of forms so that you can send those out to your clients. We have appointment settings, so you can link your Google Calendar. You can set appointments with your clients. You can also link your Stripe account if you would like to set up payments through your particularly designed appointments or schedules. You can do that as well here. But I'm going to show you a little bit more about what you'll be able to see in the client profile. This is kind of where all the magic lives. So we're going to look up Ben Smith, for example. He has a lot of forms completed. So I'm going to show you, once you click on the client's name, it's going to take you to their client details page. And this is what you'll see. If they have any tags, you'll see it there. On this page, you're able to see all the client information. So any data or to-do items that you've sent that they've completed, data analysis, the recommendations, and we'll go over each of these here in a bit. But on this main page is where you are able to send your clients any of the to-do forms that you would like them to do. So if you would like to send them the knack, you basically would just click on the add to-do item. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. You can select the knack nutritional assessment questionnaire and submit it, and then your client will get an email on their end to complete that form. You'll see here are some things that we've sent Ben to do that maybe he started, he hasn't completed yet. So you'll have options to resend them to him, send him a reminder if he maybe forgot or is just a little bit delayed in filling it out, you can do that. And under the submitted data, this is where we're going to kind of dig into the nutritional assessment questionnaire, which Jamie mentioned, and its reports. This is kind of where all the magic lives. So there are obviously a number of different forms submitted for Ben Smith. So we're just going to go ahead and click on the nutritional assessment questionnaire. And when your client completes this nutritional assessment questionnaire, it's going to produce a number of different reports. And Jamie will kind of dig into this a little bit more, but you are able to see the foundation's symptom burden graph, which is going to prioritize their foundations on this symptom burden graph. So it's a really wonderful graph. All of this is based on how they complete and answer that nutritional assessment questionnaire. So this is where it's pulling this information from. You're also able to see the body systems burden graph, which charts the body systems. And underneath this, there's a number of other reports. You're going to have the symptom burden report, which all this is, again, is pulling from the mapping and how they filled out that nutritional assessment questionnaire. And so these are basically on the symptom burden graph, you're able to see a list of potential conditions and potential nutrition deficiencies. Now, all of this is really great information. These are just pieces of information that you're able to collect along with maybe any other lab work or any other information that you have from your patients to really be able to kind of give that whole view and to help to kind of give you a starting point of to see what else is going on within, their body and their symptoms that they're experiencing. And this here is probably kind of the golden jewel of it all is the recommendations report. So here you're going to see the supplement brand. You are able to actually change this to biotics. And what this does is, depending on how they filled out the NAC and the potential conditions and nutritional deficiencies that are shown in that symptom burden report, it's going to produce some recommendations. And these are biotic, we changed it to biotics. So these are biotic specific supplements. So you're going to see Hydrozyme or beta TCP, and it's going to produce different suggested times that your client should take it, how much they should take, and instructions. Now, these are very general. This is all very bio-individual, depending on what is completed within the NAC. But these are basically a great starting point for you to start with. And one of the really great things about this is that you are able to edit this form if you need to, which I will show you in a second.
Des,
Underneath.
go back just a
Mhm.
second and show where that see how that toggles. Yeah, and of course, we're using Biotics products, but if you want to, like if you're like, gosh, what is that product? I'm unfamiliar with that. You can actually click on the generic too and
Mhm.
see like what's in those, which is really cool. But obviously, we're all using Biotics and so that's a neat one to be able to toggle that over to Biotics so you have the proprietary those formulations and the proper name and can print this out. You can edit it, print it, email it, whatever, to your patients and clients, which is a handy feature.
Yeah, let me show you that quickly. So underneath these reports, up here at the top, you're going to see this tab that has recommendations. So if you click on the recommendations, you're going to have all the recommendations that are produced. And this is an example of what we just showed you underneath the other screen. And this is where you can edit this form. So you'll see this toggle here that says edit form. You'll just click next, and you are able to delete specific supplements if you want. You're able to move some up and down. You're actually able to edit this entire entry completely if you click on this pencil edit icon, and you're able to change per day, how many with breakfast, the description, the benefit, everything. You can basically edit it to what you specifically want to include for your patient. So that's really one of the amazing features, is that this is totally customizable for the plan that you come up with for your patients and clients. This is obviously a lot because it's a test client, but you're able to add any additional nutritional recommendations if you'd like, any additional lifestyle recommendations. So all of this is completely customizable to you.
Thank you, Des.
Yeah. And just real quick to wrap this up and pass it over to Jamie, who can talk a little bit more about the NAC and the recommend and the reports, is that we also have a data analysis where you're able to compare up to 4 different nutritional assessment questionnaires that your clients fill out. And so you can compare to see the progress that they have made. Obviously, this is a test client, so there hasn't been a lot of progress made, but when you, as you know, start working with your patients, there is a lot of progress that is tracked and can be shown to them, which is really great for your clients to see on their end. And so this is a wonderful way to kind of compare different points of working points when you're working with your patients and clients. Just to wrap this up, we have a document section. If you want to upload a private document to your clients, you can do that here and they can see that. Or if they want to share anything with you, they are also on their end able to upload documents that you can see in their client details page.
Des, do you want to show the integrations as well before you?
Yeah. So on the account, we have a few different integrations that you can integrate the platform with. There is Stripe. So if you want to do any billing, invoicing, if you have any supplements that you want to sell, you can do all the invoicing here through Nutri-Q. As I mentioned, you can link your Google Calendar. So if you want to set up appointments, if you want to charge for appointments, if you want to see anything that if an upcoming appointment for your client that you scheduled, you're able to do that as well. Also, Practice Better is linked here, and Full Script as well.
So we have some really exciting integrations on the horizon. We have some cool AI plugins that are going to be very helpful, as well as um, we are uh, looking to get Biotics API'd directly in. So if you don't utilize FullScript, that's great because you'd be able to do your Biotics store actually directly through your account. So we're that's it's we're not sure on the date for that to come to fruition, but it's something that both sides are highly motivated to do, and so that's moving forward.
Is there anything else you wanted me to show, Jamie, before we go over the reports? Or
Um, no, I don't, and I'm not planning on sharing and going over those reports. So if you just actually click into the nutritional assessment questionnaire there on the bottom, this the only thing really I think to see is to show,
the
um,
question?
yeah, just all the questions so that they can kind of get an idea of what some of these questions are. So there's an option too where you can send to your patients and clients, you can send it in a way that is already categorically defined for them, where as it does scrolls down here, you'll be able to see um, the different categories as you're seeing medications and such, but it actually gets down to body systems. And most of the practitioners that I work with will utilize the version of the nutritional assessment questionnaire, which is what this specifically is, this what we're looking at right now. Um, and and they'll make it so that the patient or client can't see. Because a lot of times people will identify with something like, oh, I have thyroid problems. And so all of a sudden they'll blow out their symptoms, on the thyroid part because they know that that's what they struggle with, right? And so you can actually leave it so they're not associated with anything and they're kind of blindly doing it to get a more real response. And so this is just a really cool tool. It's one of the ways that I use this in my practice was outside of our storefront location, we had this street fair every single Thursday. And so myself and the other nutritional therapy practitioners with my practice would go and we'd set up this big table and we'd table this event and did a sugar display, whereas all the different things that the all the things that you wouldn't think about. Of course, we had, the normal things like um, different sodas and such that people, can look. We'd stack the little sugar cubes in front to show how much sugar is in this or this or this. And then we had all the, barbecue sauce and things that people don't think about, beef jerky, things that have tons of sugar and nobody realizes it. And so we get all this engagement and people would come up and I had these little slips of paper where they could write it's exactly what I would need to create a profile for them in Nutri-Q. And so they'd write their name, their date of birth, their email address. Um, and then I'd make notes on there, like dog named Susie and, kid going to dance, whatever. And then I'd send them an invitation to take the knack. And I'm a big believer in not giving anything away for free, but that was kind of getting them to jump through that hoop. So this is all like first time contact with people and bringing them in. Obviously, you can use this with all of your existing clients and see where they're at, and it's fun to track the progression. But as a funnel system into my practice, this worked beautifully. So they'd complete the knack, and I had approximately, I don't know, it was about a 15% completion rate on that, which seems really low, but from there it was like a 98% conversion rate, which was really cool because I would get their Nutri-Q or their nutritional assessment questionnaire, the NAC results, and I would take a look at them. And then I had these kind of pre-baked uh, little descriptions. So it's like your top three priorities are digestion, blood sugar regulation, and and then whatever the other one would be. Usually it was always blood sugar regulation and digestion seemed to show up for everybody at the top. And I'd just give them like a little brief intro of, digestion is important because of blah 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 blah. These things can impede digestion. This is blood sugar and kind of tease it, but give them a little bit of information. And then I'd have a link for them to click and schedule, and they'd have to actually purchase a package to then come and work with me. And it was a beautiful funnel for my practice. It worked very, very well. And so that's something that you can consider, just one way of doing it. You can do this virtually too. My website had kind of this similar form. And again, I'd have people submit their information. I'd create their client profile. Integration, we're trying. I dream of having that, so it's all this seamless process at some point where you don't actually have to physically or manually create that for yourself. The computer would automatically send it. But for now, you create that patient or client profile and send that out to them. And so there are a lot of different ways to utilize this. And I know some practitioners will use it on an iPad and they actually have it at their location and they'll tell people to come and fill it out. It's a pretty extensive questionnaire
Mhm.
though, and so it is, I think, better to have them do it in their own time. But so that's something that you can certainly, figure out your own way of doing it. Um, this is, I'm gonna have Des actually show you. Sorry, Daniel, go back, go back.
Here we
Give her the
go, Daniel and
controls back.
technology. It's
I'm
never
gonna have
pretty.
I'm gonna have Des show you where to go to sign up. It's super simple. It's just nutri-q.com. And
Yeah, let me show you here, guys. So if you're on a site, you can just go to Nutri-Q.com. It's NUTRI-Q.com. And it's going to take you to our main page. You're going to see at the top where it says start a free trial. Also down here, you'll have start free 30-day trial. So you can click on that and go ahead and sign up. You will get an initial 30-day free trial with either we have a monthly subscription of $14.99, or you can get the annual subscription for the $119.88.
so here's the thing. You guys are kind of on the insider group because we're friends with Daniel. And
I'm
so
worth something.
and so this is historically, this has been strictly used, as I've said before, for our graduate community. This is something that we want to make very available and accessible and affordable for them. I'm sure you're aware of how expensive traditional, the CRMs or the EMRs or EHRs are. And the one thing that this doesn't have is insurance billing, the coding and such. That's not integrated into this. So if you're doing this comparison to this comparison, you'll see that that's kind of the big shiny difference, as well as the price point is substantially different. And so we do have our track forward is to make this so there's kind of a secondary version that's for multiple users and people outside of the NTA graduate community. But like I said, you guys are I kind of first of the game before that's all in place with our organization. So you're getting in at that $14.99 per month price point that I always tell people, I'm like, it's ridiculously cheap because it really is. So there is that. A caveat with that is our new and upgraded version that's coming is also going to be um, far more user friendly for someone who hasn't been trained on the program through our NTP training, right? So our students go through a year-long nutrition course that includes the clinical side and learning how to use this software. And so it's kind of a fumble through it at this point. We can most definitely, help in whatever way that we can, working through Daniel or whatever to provide some support. But down the road, we'll have information tabs and things that you can click with pop-ups that explain what everything means. So it's like, what is this? They're checking this. How is this related to that? And, as they're filling out these symptoms and stuff, we have spent a whole lot of time making sure that every one of the symptoms listed in our NAC has science to back what that's directing or pointing towards as far as those organs and organ systems that I talked about before.
So I guess the piece that I love about this is it's way beyond the what I used 30 years ago, piece of paper. But there's so many levels of this program, that somebody like me who's not very tech savvy, as you can notice today on the computer if you're watching the screen, but you can start out with just the questionnaire. You have a lot of other layers to this onion that if you are a virtual practitioner, or as I've said to people, I'm working with an account. If you aren't doing a subjective questionnaire for every one of your patients, and one that is as extensive as this, I think you're missing the mark a little bit if you're just using objective information. And I'm looking at some of the names on here, and I appreciate all of you being here. I know the time it takes you to ask a lot of these questions, where somebody could virtually do it at home, send you the report, and you've got a lot of the layer of the onion already peeled.
Yeah. And it's really so we tell people as you're filling it out, go through and complete the questionnaire as you feel today. But I've always said, but make sure that as you're going through, if you have questions like, well, today I feel like this, but I've been dealing with this, make those notations as you go through, and then we talk about it in our appointment. But it is really awesome to have all of this to be able to say, I see that you marked this as an always. Tell me about that. And these are things, it pulls out stuff that you would have never. I mean, it
Right.
would take a long time to uncover because they don't even realize a lot of the symptoms they're experiencing are actual symptoms of something going on. So, Des, are there appointment reminders that are auto-generated?
Yeah, I just answered Chris's question
Okay.
in the chat.
Perfect.
Oh,
There are
everybody's in the
there,
chat.
yeah, there are right now it goes out 24 hours in advance, an email reminder that gets sent out. And actually, great timing on your question, Chris, because our development team is actually right now building out a more robust reminder system where we are going to be integrating text message reminders as well, and that will be optional to have that. It'll be optional to be 48 hours or 24 hours. So we're making it customizable for you as the practitioner to be able to customize how you want those reminders to go out and when.
Thank you, Des. And then for those listening later, I'll just read the question response because it's in the chat. But Shannon had asked how many questions. It's just over 300 questions in total. Kara had asked, um, about uploading her own disclaimer. And yep, that is available. You can also upload all their medical history stuff. I mean, any of the things that they're submitting, if you have your own forms, you can upload them, you can recreate them, you can, there are lots of different options for being able to store things here. Another question is if there are two practitioners in the office, will I need two accounts? Currently, yes. Or you can both function under the same if you want to function under the same account, you can for the time being. But that's one of the upgrades that's coming is your entire practice being able to have, a cohesive team working under one account essentially, but we're not there quite yet.
Jamie and Daz, I appreciate this. I know this is concise. Daniel's downloads is that 35-minute window between everybody's lunch hour. As most of you know in the chat box too, we always do the raffle. And I apologize for me clicking around on the screen today. It was one of those computer days. But if you are in the chat box, I know my people are used to this. The first three to answer in the chat box get a bottle of ADB5. Why ADB5? Well, one in Arizona, we're coming into about 100 and some degree heat, and my people get really postural hypotensive, and that's an adrenal issue often. We have a lot of adrenal exhaustion, so I love my ADB5. They're my M&Ms of the day. And everybody's been really hitting me up for this week is like adrenal issues are there. So ADB5 in the chat box. What does NTA stand for? A, B, or C, Nutritional Team Applications, Nutritional Therapy Association, or Nutrients, Tacos, and Apples. I always let people know who won. So I've got to get through my chat box here. Okay, we got it. Boy, that was fast. Everybody knows this. They're like ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna go right to the top. Kara, Angeline, and Lynn are my winners today. I got to write that down because I do not have my assistant today. And let me just go briefly into what next month is, and then we can go into more Q&A. Next month, June 19th. It's interesting because this question just came to me in an email today. So let's talk SIBO and beyond. And my point to the beyond is stopping the cycle. And I don't like to just talk SIBO. We're going to call it kind of gut dysbiosis. But we do a SIBO, we do a gut dysbiosis product. Why are we having the reoccurrence? That's what the beyond part is. So that's June 19th. I'll send you all out a link to register for that. All of the information that Jamie and Des shared today will be in the follow-up email with the links to the Nutri-Q to give it a look. And I believe we'll be able to answer any questions for you and to be able to get a hold of Jamie or Des in the future as well. So I'm going to stop the recording. I appreciate you all being here today. But anybody that wants to hang around in the Q&A, I'm guessing Jamie and Des have a few remaining minutes for us. So thank you so much and being a part of Daniel's Downloads.
Yes.